Hello, people. Welcome to Mainevent Boxing Talk. It's been a while. I hope you're okay in the world. How are you, Tom? How are you?
I am exceedingly well and healthy. Thank you, Nathan, and I hope everyone else is out there. Good.
Yeah.
I hope everyone else is out there.
Okay. Let's kick things off. Breaking news: it's been reportedly agreed that an undisclosed step-aside fee has been agreed to Tyson Fury to Deontay Wilder. This is just a rumor. It's meant to be 10 million US dollars and 8 million English pounds. I don't know what to make of this. I don't believe it. This, to be honest, it's 8 million seems a lot of money as step aside.
Well, nowadays, yes, it does seem like a lot of money, and nowadays it's hard to know what's true and what's not true. But prior to this, Tyson Fury was saying that he was going to meet Deontay Wilder and then defeat him again, and then have two bouts with AJ. So I don't know who to believe.
But contrary to the new WB, actually, that's further down. Let me have a look again.
Right.
So look, that's further.
That would be number 6.
Yeah, that's number 6. But I just think this whole thing that he's been given step-aside money, obviously this is the problem with these trilogy contracts, isn't it? It was signed well in advance. I think he should take the payday. If it is offered, if this is true, Wilder should just take the step-aside money. And he would get a bigger purse fighting the winner, I believe.
I think it's yes, I would agree. And I'll tell you why I would agree is because he needs to regroup. He needs to take some time, work on a few things, maybe get another trainer who can actually get him to box a little better, and not just be one-dimensional the way he was in that fight, and deal with Tyson Fury differently. Because no matter how much he tries to boost his ego, he still lost. He still was dominated in that fight, and he is going to have to make some changes. And if he doesn't and goes back in too soon, the same result, I believe, is going to happen because Fury is already training. He's staying in shape, so that's really smart for him. And I think it gives him a little bit of time to rest up, heal any injuries or anything he needs to, take some time to reevaluate and get in really good shape. And forget about all the costumes and all the excuses and really just concentrate on boxing for this next match, for him to be better. So I think it's a good idea for him.
I'm looking forward to it. I think what he needs to do is, I'm just looking at the rankings very quickly. What Wilder needs to do is he needs to fight someone outside the top 20. Someone like a Bryant Jennings or a Sergio Kuzmin, someone of that kind of level. Or a Marco, just as someone outside the top 30, just to give him a couple of wins, I don't think there's any point of him going into this fight with a loss. He needs to get his confidence back.
I agree. Probably what will happen in something like that is, he'll get a knockout. It'll boost his ego again. But that ego of his really has to calm down and reevaluate. He's still a terrific puncher. He was a great champion. But you're not going to defeat Tyson Fury fighting him the same way again. The first time he had him down twice, Tyson Fury made his adjustments, and he dominated him this last fight. So while it may be good for him to get a good knockout win, he needs to work on his game a little more. So that's how I see it. Whether he gets an easy knockout over somebody, in the top 30, fine. But that's not going to save him from Fury unless he really works on some new things.
For me, he's just he needs to find something. He needs to change his game. Obviously, he's been involved in boxing 15 years, including his amateur career. You would have thought within 10 years or 8 years of fighting professionally, he would have learned some more things than what he has. He really needs to vary his game up a lot. When you're knocking people like that, you don't need to learn anything, do you? Because, he thought he could get away with it.
Well, I think he has added to his arsenal, but the basic modus operandi with him is that right hand. That's what he was looking for, and Fury took it away from him. He used his height, he used his movement, he used his arms. He took it away from him. And I think also from the previous fight when Fury got up, and I know Deontay, I could see by his face, he knew that Fury was just a lot to deal with. And if it wasn't for that last knockdown, I think he knows he would have lost the decision. So whatever happened, happened. And he's going to have to just readjust himself mentally and work on some other physical
I mean, he
things.
can come back and possibly win, but I don't think he will. I mean, he'll win another world title again, but it just won't be against Fury.
I believe the same thing. I believe Fury has his number.
And that's it. And it's as simple as that. Fury's just too hard to do. Joshua, you'd have to ask questions. Could he beat Joshua now, haven't he? But, Joshua hasn't got the skill set or the chin that Fury's got.
Exactly. And I think
there's a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he lands on AJ's chin, it's going to be lights out.
I think, but so many people are so down on Wilder now to the point where it's just got ridiculous.
I don't feel down on him. I think
but a lot of people are. I went on the stream yesterday and they were slagging him off. He's this and he's that. He could never box. If you can't box, you don't become a world champion. And I just thought this was just all rubbish.
Well, of course it's rubbish. Of course it is. I mean, but don't forget, he's been his own worst enemy with his excuses too. People don't like that. You say, you be gracious about it. He was the better man that night, and that's it. You don't make all of these wild excuses. And no matter, even if he had excuses, you don't make them. You're just like Muhammad Ali used to fight hurt, and he didn't make excuses. A lot of fighters fight hurt or injured, and they don't make excuses. It's when fight time comes, you're supposed to be the best you can be, and that's all you can be, the best you can be. And if you lose, at least you tried, and then you don't need to make excuses. It doesn't go well with the public like that. So I think that's why some people got down on. Do you agree?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Well, there you have it.
The problem is that people are the thing that upset me, I was on a stream yesterday and there was this young man, he must have been 19, 20, and he started bringing up race about boxing. So we were having a stream about boxing, about the steps of me. So for 30 minutes straight, all he was talking about was how Wilder is a savior for the black race and all this stuff. I completely lost it. I thought, we're here to talk boxing. We're not here to talk about race.
Well, it's hard. I mean,
and then another guy came on, a guy who was probably similar age to you, and a white Australian guy started talking about processed foods. Then he started, anyway, I'm talking nonsense now. Right.
Well, no, you talk the way you feel. That's fine.
And I got into a big argument. I said to him, and this man was telling this young black lad about race, how we should approach it. And I said to him, the way you approach it is you turn the other cheek. You ignore crap and you use it to spur you on. And he was so down on himself, and he's saying, for my black race, and I'm like, what you need to do is you need to forget about this racing. You just need to move on with your life and carry on and be strong, And this Australian guy was filling his head with crap. And I said to him, look, if somebody calls you a name, you move on with your life. You have to be thicker skinned than that, I believe.
Not everybody is as strong-willed as you are, maybe.
You can't give up. The minute you give up in life, it's like Wilder. He can't listen to what people say. He has to listen to his coach, the people that care about him. You can't spend your life worrying about what other people think you. Because if you do, you might as well end it, Right, anyway, let's change the subject. I'm going on.
Okay, it's your show. It's okay to go on.
I'm going on.
Say whatever you want.
Oh, dear. This is my biggest problem. I need to concentrate on what we're doing. Right. The next thing, oh, dear. Eddie Hearn and Mike Tyson are reportedly in talks to plot the former heavyweight champion's return to the box ring. Tyson will only fight if they can find a decent, serious opponent, as he does not want to disrespect boxing or the fans.
You want to go first?
No, you go first, because what you will say will make more sense. So.
Okay.
I trust you on this one.
You know, I've been watching Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, and it's his podcast. And I'm really concerned about him going back in the ring, not only physically. He looks good physically, but don't forget, training and being in the ring are two different things, and there's a lot of pressure involved when you're fighting. You know, there's all the buildups to the fight, there are all the reporters you have to deal with, there are people you have to deal with, politics you have to deal with. And then getting into the ring, there's the pressure of getting hit. And people are saying, oh, he looks great, you know, throwing punches and he's fast. Yeah, he does look good. And anybody who got to his level when he was that young is going to retain that type of skill. But do you realize he is the same height as Gennady Golovkin, and he has the same reach as Gennady Golovkin?
Crazy.
And to be competitive at his age, he's going to need to, you know, I don't think he could deal with any of the top heavyweights. I think he should only do a 4-round fight, you know, something that's not too physically demanding on him. I don't think going 10 rounds, I think he'll break down. Like Butterbean could do 4 rounds. I think he could do 4 rounds and put on some exhibitions. They're talking about him fighting Evander. Evander is so much slower now. I think Mike would be too fast for him. Mike would bust him up. And you know what happens? These guys have huge killer instincts. Once they get hit, you know, they have that automatic killer instinct. They're going to go at each other. And I don't want to see either one of them get hurt. And I think Evander would be the one to get more hurt because Evander fought longer. He took more shots to the head. He's slurring his speech more. And he's just slow. He doesn't have that speed he used to have. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. And you know, he's getting offered, what, $1 million to go fight in Australia to fight, what's his name?
Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah, him or somebody else. What's his name? Shannon Briggs. There's talk of that. So who is he going to fight when he says this? I don't want to disrespect boxing or the fans.
He better not be talking about a top 20 opponent. You know,
no.
He needs to fight. I'll tell you what he needs to fight. Would Dave Allen? That would be a step too far, wouldn't it? Even Dave Allen would be a step too far, I think.
I agree. I agree it would be too far because that guy has been fighting 10 and 12 rounders. You know, he's been active. Michael, yeah.
If Tyson hits him with the power, he'll go. You know, he'll go. But the problem is, he needs to fight someone like, you know, like the people David Haye fought on his comeback. You know, people a bit worse than that. Someone like a guy who's ranked 700th in the world. You know, someone who's... No, I'm being serious. Because that's the only one. The only way he'll get him.
He still has the power and he has speed, but can he maintain that even over 4 rounds? That's the thing. Can he maintain it just for 4 rounds? Forget about 10 rounds. Let him do 4 rounds like Butterbean did. And at least it'll be entertaining and exciting for 4 rounds. 10 rounds, 12 rounds, forget it. He's going to break down, you know, in terms of his endurance. And if he's in there with a guy who's putting up a lot of resistance, it's not going to look good for him. And he may get hurt.
So if he fights a guy who, you know, who's like, sort of like a guy who's semi-professional, a guy who's ranked about 800 in the world, you know, who's probably had like lost 20 fights and had 1-1, you know, someone like that, just so he gets the win and he gets it out of his system. Do you agree?
I think yes. But the thing is, he could get, the thing about Mike is that if he gets, you know, he claims he's different now, you know, with his
he's not. No one is.
Marijuana line and taking the DMT, whatever it is, from the toad and everything. But, you know, it's different when you get in the ring and all of that, you revert back to that beast. And I don't think that was ever really good for him psychologically. You know, I really don't think it's going to work out for him well, especially if he doesn't do well in his first fight. He'll probably just pack it up. Or he may just, yeah.
The problem is in his mind with his trainer, he thinks he's the 20-year-old that won the world title. That's what do you know what I mean? That's the mindset he'll probably have.
Well, if you look at his last few fights, I mean, you could probably get a judge of where
they were a joke. his last few
Right.
fights.
Yeah, but that's probably 4 rounds. If he could keep up that assault for 2 rounds with the mediocre fighter, he'll get him out of there. But they have
Let
to be
him
mediocre.
fight David Haye in an exhibition, you know, a 3-round exhibition where nobody gets hurt. Because David Haye's still quick enough to move out the way of his punches. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
So, do you know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're not going to know until Mike gets in the ring. He may just walk out before the fight and say, "No, I don't want to do this." Because he can easily do that.
I think he just wants a payday, don't he? I think that's all it's down to. He could probably think, if I can come back for 2 or 3 fights, I can make some quick money, easy money, because people will fall for it. The name recognition, you know. But we should have stopped falling for this nonsense when he lost to Danny Williams. I have to be honest, you know. I don't want to be disrespectful to him or his career, but I mean, he lost that fight 16 years ago. You know, you can't turn back the clock in life.
No, you
And
can't.
you know that, you know.
Yeah, you can't. But I think if he trains hard, and I mean, he looks good and people are getting excited, but it's more than just, throwing a few punches into the mitts and moving the way he moves and doing what he does, because that's all automatic with him now. It's a matter of endurance, and it's a matter of if mentally he could be in the right frame of mind to do it. And I would not go past 4 rounds with him. So it's a big if. We'll see if it happens or whatnot. We'll see.
What he needs to go the Mayweather route, you know, where you have an exhibition for 3 rounds against somebody who's a complete, do you know what I mean? Like a proper exhibition like he had with Corey T-Rex Sanders 12 years ago.
Well, you mean like recently too with the kickboxer, the Japanese kickboxer?
That sort of thing, yeah. Someone who, so even Shannon Briggs would be too much for Mike Tyson. Shannon Briggs would destroy him. I really believe that. At least Shannon fought about 5 years ago and he's kept himself in shape. Tyson's in shape, but I don't know.
I don't think Tyson's in shape. I think he looks good, but I don't think he's in shape yet. They claim he's been training for 2 months, but I don't see that yet. We're not going to know.
Doesn't the body recover over the years? If you have a 10, 15-year bite, doesn't the body recover itself to a certain point?
To a certain degree, but he's over 50. He's 53 now, so he's going into, his advanced years. But here's another thing to consider. Drug testing. All right? Drug testing. Now, he's got a lot of marijuana in his system and a lot of cannabis. Is he going to be allowed to fight with that? Has he taken any performance enhancing drugs, while he's working out? Those are that's a whole other issue. If he goes in and he fights, are they going to be under any kind of drug testing? Let's say him and Shannon Briggs, who's been known to juice. That's another thing. A guy his age, he would benefit from certain PEDs to increase his recovery time and his oxygen. So
there's talk of John Fury getting a shot, which would be more realistic. That would be a better matchup.
I think John Fury right now could beat him. I don't, anybody.
John Fury's old as well. I think Tyson could get him. Tyson Fury's dead.
Oh, Tyson Fury's dead in a bare knuckle, you mean?
No, but just do a normal fight. His dad was a professional boxer, but he wasn't a high level boxer. To the point of what, he was probably, barely British level.
I thought he was a bare knuckle champion.
Oh, no, never. I don't think he was. He was. He might have had a few bouts, but he was a proper professional, like sort of British sort of level.
Well, okay, I didn't research that. From what I saw, he was a bare knuckle, or maybe his grandfather.
Probably at some point he was. I mean, he went to prison for. Did he do for gouging someone's eye out or something?
Yes, in a bare knuckle fight. That's what I read.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm concerned for Mike. Judging by his past where he left off, we'll have to see what happens.
What's next on the list?
We have Dillian White, says Francis Nagunu would never try to stand and fight him.
Because Dillian's got a mixed martial arts background.
Right. I saw his fight where he knocked that guy out right away. The guy walked right into the punch and he knocked him cold. Now, Francis Nagunu, however you pronounce it, that guy's a pretty fit-looking athlete, and he looks very strong.
But I think if Dillian gets in there, throws the punches straight away, it's over. Providing he doesn't get taken down.
Right, but also Francis is a very strong puncher too. He's got a very strong punch.
As you find, when most boxers fight mixed martial arts, say if they don't get them on the ground, they'll win, won't they? If they keep it fists up, they'll win pretty quickly.
Yeah, what's that sound, mate? That hissing.
So I've just been washing my hands, that's all.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Anyway, the only thing that Dillian White, when watching Francis fight, Francis is very wide with his punches and not as fast as White. So White is going to have to catch him first. And that's probably what'll happen if he doesn't get taken down. But I think he's in training now to fight Povetkin, and I think that fight will go off sometime in July somewhere, and that should be good. But he needs to stay in shape. White needs to stay in shape all the time and not let himself get out of shape like the last fight he had when he was 271.
Yeah, he was too much in his last fight.
Yeah, he was too heavy.
I mean, that was only because he was out of the ring for 6 months, but he should have kept himself in proper prime condition.
Well, the benchmark for that is Hopkins. I mean, look how long he fought till he was, what, 53?
52.
52, yeah. And he was competitive until his last couple of bouts.
I mean, there's a big, the big difference in it's how you look after yourself in the sport. If you look after yourself, you can have a long career. But Dillian White, I think Dillian's pretty undisciplined, at times.
Yeah, and that doesn't help him. So I think if you really want longevity in this sport and you want to come out of this sport with your brains intact, you need to be in the gym when you're not, you need to go and train and be in the gym when you don't have a fight, in between fights, and work on things all the time. And like in Hopkins' case, I don't think he was ever cut. He never had a cut, I don't think, in fighting. So he never got busted up in the head too bad, except his last couple of fights.
Against Kovalov and Smith and people like that.
And Smith, yeah. He was very defensive-minded and also could punch and box. So there you go.
The problem with Dillian, like I say, has always been, if you've been through what he's been through, it must be quite off-putting because he lost millions, And now with the coronavirus, he's probably lost at least 5 million in fights, in terms of fight purses.
Well, what are you going to do with these promoters right now where they...
You can't do anything.
It's gotten ridiculous. I was listening to Mike Tyson today that the biggest problem in boxing is the promoters. They won't let their guys fight the best guys. And it's true. We know that's true. We'll still watch them fight, but when, it took 5 years to make Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. 5 years in the making for that.
It took ages, didn't it?
Yeah. And, Tyson Fury was willing to face Deontay Wilder. He was just willing to do it. He didn't care. He wanted to fight the best, have a couple of fights and come out and fight the best. So he said, hey, let's do it. Come on, get me a fight with him.
Dillian is in a tough position because you've got 3 heavyweights that are significantly better than him. And therefore, he's kind of in the wrong era for him, really. If he was in the other era, I think he'd be a world champion. He's still a good fighter, but he's just not a top 3 fighter, as I call it. He's barely a top 4 fighter. He just scrapes in.
It depends on which guy shows up. I'll tell you that.
If he shows up, I mean, he would have a real chance of beating, having a closer fight with Joshua, but he wouldn't beat him. He wouldn't beat Fury. He wouldn't beat Wilder, but I mean, he would have a chance with Wilder. He's got more skills than Wilder. But again, it's one of them,
Well, he's dangerous. That's why they won't match him with these guys.
I mean, I even think him and Ruiz would be so close. I'd just pick Ruiz to just beat him. But only just.
Possible. Yeah, I think Ruiz is a better all-around technician than he is, and a better athlete if he trains seriously. We'll see. How about this guy Enzo Maccarinelli?
Oh, dearie me!
I mean, why doesn't this guy retire?
He's retired. He retired years ago.
Yeah, but why come out of retirement? Why not stay retired? I mean, he's going to get hurt in this fight.
I think he's just talking for the sake of talking. With Enzo, I'll walk you through his career very quickly. In 2003, he won the WBU title, which is obviously a fringe title, which means nothing. This was a time where the WBU belt was on British TV. I call it the big con of British boxing. He made 13 defences of the title. So when he won his world title, obviously Johnny Nelson vacated the belt because Johnny Nelson didn't think he was a good enough opponent for him to fight. So then he got given the belt the same way Nathan Cleverly did. He made a good couple of defences. His best win on paper was against Wayne Braithwaite. Do you remember Wayne Braithwaite?
No, I don't.
He was a former WB's champion. Then he had that trilogy where he had the unification with David Hay, which you'll remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went down to light heavyweight. Before that, he won the British Commonwealth, and then he went to cruiserweight. Sorry, not cruiser. Went to light heavyweight for about 3 or 4 fights. Lost to Jürgen Bremer 6 years ago, and then his last fight was against Dynamo Kutcher 4 years ago for the European cruiserweight belt. He got knocked out in a round, and based on that performance, he was completely swallowed up long before then. So he'll just get hurt, but he's probably seen because Makabu isn't the strongest of the champions, is he? By any stretch of the imagination.
I would agree with that. However, he's going into this fight, if he wants this fight, in the wrong frame of mind. He's had a couple of bad things happen. He was in an accident, his brother died, and, he needs this for his mental health.
But he also needs a ranking. If he's going to go, he needs to get ranked. You need to beat someone in order to get ranked. And nobody in their right mind in Britain would ever give him a license again.
Well, then it's moot. I just feel sorry for the guy. He can't find peace without getting back in the ring. And if you really want to do that, well, then train and work with fighters, work with them, versus getting back in the ring. It's not a smart idea for him.
A man in his position, he's been a former world champion. He made 4 successful defences. He had a unification with David Hay. He got paid a lot of money for that. Back in 2009 or 2008, he made enough money that he doesn't have to box again. After he lost to Hay, he was done. I don't know where this virus is sending everybody crazy.
I don't know if it's the virus or it's something else with him. But the virus is interesting with the psychological effect it's having on people. But that aside, I think this is a bad idea. What do you think of Bivol wanting to fight Callum Smith?
I think it would be a good move for him. Why not?
Yeah, because it looks like some people just don't want to get in the ring with him, with Bivol. In light heavyweight.
Bivol is a very underrated fighter. He's dangerous. He doesn't have the power that the top guys have, the top guys have, but, he's got the skill. He's still young and he's not really a big name yet, is he? That's the problem.
Well, HBO, before they went off, were trying to build him up. They were showcasing him, and he had a couple of impressive knockouts. And then with Joe Smith, he outboxed Joe Smith. Joe Smith rocked him, I think, once or twice in the fight.
Yeah, he beat John Pascal. He's beaten all the so-called and just underneath guys, just underneath the top level.
Correct. So I think I would watch this fight, though, if it came down.
But I think if he does go down, it should only be a one fight deal. You know, he wins the belts, then he goes back up to light heavyweight.
Who do you think would win?
I think Bivol would beat him.
I
To
think
be
so.
absolutely honest, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
But I question, why didn't he start his career at 168? Why go back? To me, this is a strange move.
Yeah.
Right. In next,
It's I don't know if it's strange. I think he wants to make a match where he can make some money.
but we remember the last time this happened. Do you remember when Chad Dawson was the
I do.
one and he went down to 168 and lost?
I
He was never the
do.
same after that loss. And
Yep.
you know, once you go down, you go back up. It's not really good to do it, is it? Too often to do
No,
what Canelo does.
it's not good to do that. No. But don't forget that Callum Smith is not Andre Ward.
No, he's not. No, he's certainly not.
Yeah. So what
Callum
do you
Smith,
think about what?
Sorry, carry on.
No, Callum Smith, continue.
Has been exposed.
That's right, by Ryder, right?
Yeah, Ryder's a very good fighter, but he's not a world-class fighter by any stretch. You know?
Well, being that we're on that subject, he's willing to fight Callum Smith in a rematch, but he may have to go through Danny Jacobs first, right?
Yeah, I think that's later. That's later down the line. That's later down. Right. Let's go to number 5. Daniel Dubois has been backed to KO Deontay Wilder. So Deontay Wilder has been offered the chance to fight a young and undefeated British heavyweight named the second coming of the great Mike Tyson. Stop. We need to be honest and stop rather. Nonsense.
Yeah, that's just hype. Hype. You know, I think that's a bad move to move him up that soon to fight Wilder.
Joyce is a huge step up for him.
Yeah, that's so premature that that would wreck his career if he was brutally knocked out.
Definitely, yeah.
Who's pushing this?
Frank Warren is.
Well, he's an idiot.
It's his dude. He is, yeah. I don't agree with it at all. You know, he needs to stop all this nonsense.
Well, you know, they may be talking it up now, but I think it's premature. He's not ready for it yet. And it would be a disaster if the guy got hurt. You know, Tyson Fury is different from, him fighting Wilder. It's a different match totally. You know, he can walk in and Wilder can uncork that right hand and it's over. And then his career takes a big setback. So that's kind of stupid in my opinion.
There's no common sense in any of this. It's just Frank Warren just trying to keep Daniel Dubois relevant. You know, his career is coming along nicely. You know, don't push things, but don't run before you can walk.
Right. I agree. It's nope, big mistake. Maybe Frank Warren needs the money.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's go to the WBC heavyweight rankings, which from recently. Number 1 is Wilder still. Number 2, Usyk. Number 3, Rivas. Number 4, Ortiz. Number 5, Ruiz. 7, Dubois. 6, Parker. 8, Hrgovic. 9, Povetkin. 10, Hunter. 11, Joyce. 12, Chisora. 13, Martin. And 14,
Ajaba.
And then 15, Cabial.
Well, what about it?
I think it's ridiculous that they continue to publish rankings when people haven't fought for them.
Okay, so I know the person who does the rankings.
Yeah.
And I'm just unsure why Usyk is number 2 when he just only had 1 heavyweight fight. I guess that's based upon his performance as a cruiserweight.
It is, yeah.
If Rivas fought Usyk, that would be a really rough fight.
Yeah,
we just put 2 and 3 there. What?
We don't know how good Usyk is going to be at heavyweight. We've only had a glimpse.
Yeah, and he's coming off another injury, isn't he?
Yeah, he got slightly injured against Witherspoon, and Witherspoon's not even a B level guy.
Right. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Usyk is a very talented boxer. I really like the way he boxes and the way he puts punches together and the angles. Everything about him, is really, he has the makings of a champion, as
Yeah,
light heavyweight and as
but
cruiserweight. But
he
this is
lacks
different.
hasn't got the size or the power that the top heavyweights have got. This is his problem. He
Yeah.
can't fight the top three guys. He wouldn't beat the top three guys. I just think
Well,
they'll be too big.
yeah, they'll put a lot of pressure on him. I think him and Ruiz would even be that would be an excellent
Oh,
match.
that would be very close. If Usyk can run away for 12 rounds, he can beat most of the guys. If he can stay on his, run around the ring, but he's going to have to, use lots of movement.
I'm wondering if I would give Parker the edge against him.
I don't think. I think he just edged out Parker, but only just.
It would be a boxing match for sure.
You wouldn't see much, scrapping in it. It'd be more like a chess match.
Yeah.
Parker would be pushing the action, and Usyk would be maneuvering around him and outboxing him.
Yeah. It's an unknown quantity right now. I mean, he hasn't fought his way up, anyone in the top 10. Nobody
Also,
there.
Parker, he hasn't got the best defense. When he fights on the inside, he gets hit a lot. Have you noticed that Parker on the inside, he always gets hit a lot?
He did in his last fight. I saw that. He opened up and he has a good chin.
Yeah,
but he was taking too many shots.
This is the problem. If he had a rematch with Dillian White, tightened up his defense, I believe he'd beat Dillian White in a rematch.
I think so. It was
I think
a very
he's a better
close
boxer.
fight. Yeah, and his fight with Ruiz was very close.
It just shows you how good Ruiz is.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think about him going out now with Canelo's trainer?
It's a good move.
I think so too. I think they're going to make him work. They're not going to let up on him.
He needs to give. He just needs to live the life, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think this is always going to plague him till the day ends his career. I think this is the way he does things.
You mean the way he fought against AJ the last time?
Yeah. He needs to get it together. He should have. If he was in shape, he'd have won that fight.
Well, AJ did make adjustments. We got to give him credit for that.
Oh yeah, I do. But I'm not going to take too much away from him. Ruiz will come back, and he'll come back stronger, I believe.
All right,
but
we'll
move on to our next.
The ratings are what they are for now. They got to fight, and we'll see. It'll mix itself up.
Okay, John Ryder wants a rematch with Callum Smith, and he's willing to go through Daniel Jacobs to get it.
I think Daniel Jacobs, if you don't mind my saying, will be too big and too strong for him. So, yeah, I don't think that's a good move. Although I think he'll be game. I think Daniel will just outbox him.
Jacobs is clearly on the slide, isn't he? We have to be honest to what he was.
Yeah, I think so. I think those two fights between him and Canelo and him and GGG. And then he had a tough one. He had a couple of tough ones.
But to be fair to him, anybody who's been through what he's been through to achieve what he's achieved is a miracle anyway.
Well, I love Daniel Jacobs. I think he's an excellent boxer, and I think for him to come back from the cancer he had was incredible.
Can I be honest? I look at him and I think to myself, he should be 6 feet under, but he's not. He's here. He's a miracle.
Right.
So to me, he's a guy who should be long gone, but he's not. He's here for a reason.
Right.
He's here for a reason. And I'm glad he's here. He's entertaining. He's a good guy. And I'm happy for the success he's had.
Me too. And I like him. I like him in interviews. He had a bad falling out with his last trainer. The last trainer was really upset with him. I read an interview that he gave about Danny Jacobs, and But, that's what happens. People have to do boxing what's best for them, what they think is best for them. But
I didn't have any respect for him before he fought Canelo. After Canelo, he made me a fan of him. When he took Canelo all the way, then I realised how good he was. But it took me that long to realise how good he was.
yeah, he was always a force to be reckoned with. He had that one knockout loss to the Russian
No,
guy.
sorry, when he fought Triple G, sorry. That's when I started giving him the respect.
I understand. I understand what you meant the first time. I think it'll be a good match. I think John will John will press him the way he pressed Callum Smith. But I don't know. On paper, Jacobs should win.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and he should win easily, but we'll see.
Well, let me see what's...
Yeah, Parker next, planning an August return.
This will make you laugh. One of his opponents is Lucas Brown.
Oh no. Oh, no.
But for a New Zealand fight, I can understand, because New Zealand, Australia have this big rivalry. And in that part of the world, it's a big fight.
Right.
But Parker, what a match for him doing with his career.
Well,
they're not managing him well enough.
No. I mean, they'll get him out to fight somebody eventually, but they were going to fight Junior Fa, remember? And he wanted more money.
$1 million. The problem is, if we look at his record, I mean, he's had 3 warm-up fights since he lost those 2 fights to the top guys.
That's right. But he's competitive with the top guys, so...
Yeah, he is. But he needs, like, he was obviously meant to fight Chisora, which is a fight he would have won. And that would have put him back in, a top position again.
It sure would. Again, this is the same problem. He's another guy that's dangerous, like White, that the top guys will avoid for now. So they don't want to lose to him. They don't want to take the chance because he can turn it on, he can box, he can punch. It depends on who's in the best frame of mind and physical condition that day to win, who has the will to win, to go all the way. So fighting Brown seems like a tune-up fight for him.
That's all it is. I mean, Brown, he's at a very low level now.
Yeah. Let's face it.
He's very low level. If you can't beat Dave Allen, then, you've definitely kind of lost it.
Yeah, he's over the hill.
Yeah.
He's over the hill, and that's just the fact.
But if you look at where he was when he fought Shagayev, I mean, he's so far shot. But I think that's more to do with age. He's in good physical condition, but he can't do the things his body used to do. It's just age, not age. It's just father time, isn't it? Lucas Brown didn't turn pro till he was 31 or 32. That's pretty late, isn't it? He did well to achieve what he achieved.
Very, very late.
And he was a doorman, and then he was a very low level mixed martial artist. So for me, he's got my respect, but. He didn't make a lot of money in the game.
No, he didn't. Well, in any case, they need to keep Parker active. If this is the only fight they could do and not travel around and spend a lot of money, then fine. It's a payday for Brown. He's going to lose. He only has his punch left. And he's abused his body with PEDs as well. So, whatever, man. Just, let these guys fight each other. That's my opinion. But
Alex Leopai, that Winterboom guy, and the other guy, that Flores guy, he fought the last 3 guys. The level he's been fighting is too low.
That's right. That's right.
You don't. If you want to be competitive, you need. They should have given him top 25, not top 55.
Well, again, they want to protect him to get a shot at one of the titles.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right, we'll move on. Chris Eubank Jr. says he wants Canelo. Triple G, Carlos, Andrade, and he says, I'm ready. Oh, this is just more talk, more nonsense.
Well, let me say this. His time is now. If he doesn't fight these guys now, when is he going to fight them? And, he wants to make money. And those guys he will make a good payday with, and it will get a lot of press. It will get a lot of people wanting to watch it to see how he does against these people, or people who want to see him get knocked out. You know,
He's not good enough. He hasn't got the talent to beat these guys. He never has. They've been conning the public with him. You know, he barely beat Matt Korobov. He only beat Korobov because he had an injury.
Mhm. Right. That was a fight that we got let down because of that. So, but really, that's and it's good for the other fighters too, because he has a name. He's carrying the Eubank name. He has a big following in Britain, doesn't he?
He does, but we need to be honest. He's living off his dad's name. He's got talent. Whenever he's stepped up to fight good fighters, he's been exposed. He got exposed by Billy Joe Saunders four years ago. He got exposed by a shot George Groves. You know, if you can't beat a shot George Groves, then you're not going to be a top level fighter. You know, he beat an old James DeGale. That's his on paper. That's his best win.
Well, like I said, it's about who will match him with who, and what is the most money involved. Because really, he's got a belt now. I'm pretty sure, doesn't he?
That's only an interim belt.
Yeah, but he's got a belt.
Yeah.
So.
Right, if he does fight Canelo, it will be a cash out fight. You know, and then he'll probably walk away. You know, he needs a good payday, you know, to make some money. He's made a couple of million anyway from those rubbish pay-per-views he put on.
And he's not physically really injured much. He hasn't really been in wars where he's taking a beating. I mean, he's been exposed, but he hasn't been KO'd and beat up to a pulp and anything like that. So if he's going to make the money, now's the time to do it.
But Roy Jones is training him. And from footage, I don't think he's listening to
him. Well, you know, I don't know how good of a trainer Roy Jones is. How many champions has he had?
I don't think he's had any.
No, he hasn't. So I'm not sure if that's the right thing for him. Look, Roy Jones was a great fighter. He was a great fighter. He had a style based upon speed and reflexes. And when he slowed down, he started getting hit a lot. You know, so I don't know if it's the right matchup for him. Maybe it works out mentally. I don't know. But in any case, now's the time. I think it's a good idea if you could get one of these guys in the ring. Charlo, Andrade would do a number on him. Charlo would. All of these guys would do a number on him.
Too good for him.
Yeah, but GGG won't go up to 168.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You know, I think we just got to be realistic, haven't we?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Right, last, Tyson Fury says that Deontay Wilder is next, then two fights, Anthony Joshua. I don't know what to think of this.
Well, this was 2 days ago, right? Oh, no, this was today. And that kind of puts down the fact that, you know, the story was floating about paying him off. He's saying right here, I'm not paying him. No money to step aside. I'd rather take his scalp again. And that sounds like truth coming from the champ. I'll beat him in the ring, and that's how I'll get him out of the way, not by paying him. I wouldn't pay him $2 million to step aside. I'd rather give him another battering. I'm going to fight him again, hopefully by the end of the year, and then we'll go into the biggest fight in British boxing history, or in boxing history. We're going to battle it out for all of the gold. And he's training right now, so you know the champ has got his head on straight, as far as I'm concerned. And regardless of what anybody says, this guy is mentally strong, as well as physically talented. This guy right now is a very dangerous individual.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, we don't know with everything that's up in the air. With, you know, everything at the minute with the virus and everything.
Yeah, but eventually we're going to get back to it. So he's staying in shape. He's not sitting around making excuses. He's not sitting around being depressed or getting fat. He's staying in shape. And that's what a champion is supposed to do. And he's doing it. So whenever boxing comes back, he will be ready.
Yeah. There's a couple more articles just wanted to discuss before we go.
Oh, sure.
Liam Williams has said that Andre must face me or vacate. I'll be too much for him, he said.
He did?
Yeah, this is the same Liam Williams that lost to Liam. Oh,
I know
Liam
who he
Smith.
is. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
who he is.
he hasn't got the talent to beat Andre. Even get a sniff of
No,
him.
none of these middleweight champions want to go near Andrade. No, none of them, because he's a problem. He's a southpaw. He can punch, and he's a fine boxer, and he'll make you work. And he's going to expose you. You know, he's going to come. He's going to bring it. And so, you know, that's just guys trying to get a fight. That's all it is. That's really.
I just think Liam Williams is British level, and that's it. You know, he knows his level. He's just trying to get a big payday, and I don't blame him. The sport's a business at the end of the day.
It is, and you know, this has always been the case, and I don't begrudge the fighters trying to goad each other into the ring. I mean, let them fight. You know, they want
one fighter who needs to watch what he says is Devin Haney. He's been hyped up a little bit, isn't he, Devin Haney? He's a good fighter. He's still developing, but I think he's been way overhyped to what his talent level is at the minute.
Right. You know, boxing really is about the money. I remember Archie Moore telling me about. I sent you the fight with him and Yvonne Durrell. Did you ever watch that fight?
I did, yeah.
Did you see how, by today's standards, that fight would have been stopped in the first round?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Crazy.
Or in the second round, but it went on, and Archie, even though he was knocked down, I think 3 times, you know, fought his way back and eventually knocked Durrell out.
Yeah.
And after the fight was over, he went over to Yvonne Durrell and he says, "Listen, don't fight anybody else. We'll have a rematch, and we're going to make a lot of money."
Yeah. But anyway, with Devin Haney, he was given a belt way too early, you know, because of obviously politics, and then he got it taken away from him. So for me, he didn't beat anyone good. I believe at this point in time, Luke Campbell would just edge him right now, but not in a year's time. If they fought right now. No, he's going to get better experience. He's a young kid. He's only 21, isn't he? So he will get better.
Right. I think he will. He's very young and he's talented.
But he will learn as he goes along. The more mistakes he makes, this will make him a better fighter, you know.
Yeah, he's a lightweight now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen him work, and he's very good boxer. You know, they got to match him up with the guys.
But I wish he would shut his mouth and just do the training and then start talking when he's got that more success, you know, when he's built himself up a bit more. Saying some of the things he said, you know, keep your mouth shut and just learn your craft.
Well, Cassius Clay didn't keep his mouth shut, and then he became Muhammad Ali, and he still didn't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, but I mean, Devin Haney's not in that kind of talent level.
Yeah, well, he's young, you know, and he wants it now. He wants the world, and he wants it now.
Another thing that people discuss, and I was talking to people on True School Sports stream yesterday that was saying that one guy was saying that Errol Spence Jr. would beat Crawford. I don't believe that at all. I think Crawford would be too good for him.
Well, let's look at it this way. He has the size. He's also a southpaw, and Crawford can switch sides. I think, you know, I can't even say that now. I want to see him back in the ring after this accident.
He's not going to be the same. And also, when he fought Porter, he looked pretty ordinary. But then again, Porter makes everybody look ordinary.
Well, yeah, you know, he did drop him, I think. Didn't he drop Porter in one of the rounds?
He did, yeah. But yeah. I think that Crawford is a level above Porter. And it's quite obvious he is, you know.
Well, Porter has gotten better. He became a better boxer. He still, you know, is open for that punch he got caught with. Was it an uppercut he got caught with?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an uppercut.
The problem with Porter is he's in a tough division. He's always had it tough, hasn't he? No, his losses on his record don't receive how good he really is. Doesn't tell the whole story.
I have to respect him because he's fought tough guys. Look at the guys he's fought. You know, he fought
Garcia.
He fought Garcia. He fought what was that?
Rona.
He's fought Garcia. He fought the what's his name? The British champion that I really
Jesus,
admire.
I've forgotten his name. Kell Brook.
Kell Brook, that was he went after him. I mean, he's fought all these tough guys. And I think it's great, you know. So we'll see. But Spence, I think the jury is out with him. You know, he lost his teeth in that accident. He had a terrible concussion. I'm surprised he's been cleared to fight. And who knows what's going to happen when he gets hit really hard for the first time. It could be something. No, we'll see. So I'm not going to say anything right now. Crawford, and let's say they were both at 100%. I think it would be a tough fight for Crawford because of the size difference. And but they're both so talented. Crawford is tough enough where he could, he has that will to win. He has that thing you hit him, it wakes him up, and he comes after you. But Errol Spence is a sharpshooter too, and he's tough and he moves forward.
He's very tough, but Crawford's come in. This is his third. He's come up 3 weights, so that's pretty impressive. I mean, this is his third world title at a third different weight.
Right. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you, what's going to happen here. It really depends on a few things.
I think the car crash will take something out of Crawford.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
An accident like that, it can do stuff to your punch resistance, can't it? If you have a major accident like he had.
Yeah, God forbid he doesn't have a clot or something that's not diagnosed, and he's in the ring and it gets really serious. I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to anybody like that.
I don't see Errol Spence having a long career anyway. I mean, I never did. He reminds me of one of these guys that's around. He's good for a certain amount of time, then you'll see him deteriorate.
Right.
He was exciting when he was coming up, wasn't he? Errol Spence. I was really high on him. I don't think he's as good as I thought he was,
Well, I remember him sparring with Floyd Mayweather several years ago when he was, had like 13. And Floyd gave him respect because he was bringing it and jabbing his way in and whatnot. And Floyd was giving him respect, and Floyd fought him off a few times. And
when he fought Garcia, he proved that he had more than one dimension.
That's right. Right.
He can box, but I just think that he has certain limitations that Crawford can exploit.
And I think that if it was Crawford fighting Garcia, that would have been a different fight too.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think he would have busted up Garcia more.
But the thing with Garcia is that he's got quick hands and he's got a good left hook. He's very tough, Garcia,
Yeah, Mikey Garcia we're talking about, right?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the other Garcia.
Oh, Danny Garcia. Well,
Yeah.
Spence fought what's his name? He fought Mikey Garcia.
Yeah. The problem was Garcia was too small. If he'd been bigger, that would have been a different fight.
Yes, but I think it would be a better match with him and Crawford size-wise.
Yeah.
But I think Crawford would have eventually busted him up, is what I'm saying.
To be fair, Spence should have knocked Garcia out, really. That fight should have been stopped earlier. I mean, you can't take beatings like that.
Garcia is an excellent boxer and a very strong puncher at a lighter weight. I don't know,
He doesn't belong at 147. He's come back. He's still fighting in that way. I think he's crazy.
No, his glory days were 140, 135, 130.
He's still young enough to come back again and, go down to 140 and dominate at 140 or 135.
Right. And where is my favorite fighter? Where is Broner?
Broner has taken a leave of absence. He'll be back at some point.
Yeah, I think he's got some kind of legal case again, a different legal case going on.
I can't stand the guy. I think he's a waste of skin.
Yeah, he was a waste of talent for sure.
Oh, definitely. Let me see if there's one more thing, then we'll disappear. Stop. No, I think we're done.
We're done.
Keep talking off the camera.
Well, it was great.
Recording now.
It was great. Thanks, Nathan.
Let me just stop recording. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, I would have thought. If there's any big news, we'll be back before. But obviously, when the boxing gets back to normal, we'll be doing every 2 weeks or whatever. Right, I'm going to end the podcast now.